Now, we're in a position to talk about data structures. So, what are the data structures? Some of the basic data structures are, we will going to mention them one at a time. Let's put down the heading. So, today's topic in today's date, today is 28th of November and it's 24. There we go. And the topic is data structures. Okay. Do you people know about the data structures? Even in different kind of examinations in computer sciences and computer engineering and digital electronics maybe, or in any IT field, they do ask you what data structures are. So what are data structures? What do you understand by the word structure? Let's talk a little bit about the language. What structure means? Architecture where you can hold things. Let's suppose if I say there is a building structure and in that building some people might be living inside that structure. So if you have a structure for a data, then there might be some data inside that structure. And for example, just like I gave you example of buildings, we have different kind of buildings. We have apartments, we have bungalows, we have houses, we have studio apartments, so and so, different type of structures where people can live. Similarly, we have different type of structures for data to get stored in a digital memory in computer. How simple is that? So we're going to study about different type of data structures, different ways. Let me just make this a bit. Different ways of organizing data in a digital memory. So that's what we call as data structures. Now we have different types of data structures. Just like I gave you an example of, we have different type of building structures as well. So for example, very common ones are variables, constants, arrays, abstract data types, records. Yes, Ubaid? No, files are the enemies of data structures. That's another way of storing the data. Records, I think this is enough. Okay, this as because Ubaid have gave me one example, and that example have given me one another idea of referring you what data structures are actually. So I'm going to mention data structures holds data during the execution of program. During the execution of program. So as soon as you shut off your computer, laptop, PC, smartphone, maybe, or maybe if as soon as you close your application, close the window in the browser, and the data that is stored for the time being is like vanished, destroyed, gone, lost. So data structures only holds the data for the time being during the execution of the program. As soon as you close the program, data is deleted. So these are the data structures. We already have done bit of an examples of variables, constants, variables, whose the values varies during the execution of program. Did I give you the examples of the definitions for variables? Did we wrote the definitions for variables, constants? No. Did we like write the definition, wrote the definition for variables, constants in our copies already? Have you done that? भाई वेरिएबल्स की कांस्टेंट की डेफिनेशंस लिख चुके हैं हम. ओके. Okay, let's continue. So we have done with the definitions of no. Let's do this again and quickly. Let's do this quickly. All right. So variable. One line definitions only. People. Variables. Values. Data. Changes during the execution, during the execution of program. Okay? Single containers. Variables are single containers. Single containers can hold one value at one time. But this concept is again important because there's a reason of knowing this concept. Okay, so variables. We have done variables. Let's talk about constants. Constants data stored in a constant at the beginning of program cannot be changed during execution. Execution of program, of course. Okay. So these are the two type of data structures. Now, the next type of data structures, the reason that we have brought this topic on board is to teach you people this data structure. The name of the data structure is, can you guess? Anybody? So we have some more types of data structures. Arrays. It's a list of variable, variables placed very next to each other. Arrays can be indexed. These are the features of arrays. The data structure array. Arrays can be indexed to store or retrieve the values. There can be a couple of more points regarding the arrays, but At this moment, I just want you people to, understand the difference between variables and arrays. Yes, we do have ADTs, abstract data types, but that's a topic of future because at this very moment, we're just trying to understand the basics of the programming. So the difference between arrays can be indexed to store or retrieve the values. Retrieve the values. यार ये important है जो मैं बताने के लिए जा रहा हूँ ना. Listen to this very carefully. Or even I think I do not need the divider. People, if I wanted to tell my program that I want to use a variable which can hold one value at a time. Okay. So, for example, I can declare for example, name as a string. Many people already know this. Name of variable, data type. You know this already? And once we will going to run this command, if this command will be executed, what will going to happen? This thing will going to happen. Inside the computer memory, I think I will be needing a bigger memory because I need to give you an example of arrays as well. So inside computer memory, RAM, once you run this command, a single variable will be created with the name. It will be a single container. It can hold one value at a time, but it cannot hold two values at one time. That is a drawback of a single variable. We know this already that if you will going to run this command, for example, name, the value will be stored in this variable Usman. But once you input another value in the same variable, like this, the previous value will be deleted. It cannot hold two values at one time. So this value will be deleted and a new value will be stored inside this variable. Okay. So point to be taken is this. Variable cannot hold more than one value at one time. This is crucial. Okay, now let's do the magic. Because we need to store names of quite a number of people in the class. So what if I need to store more than one names during the execution of program in a way that is it's also organized. Okay, listen people, there is another point that is coming into my mind. Data is organized. Arrays के अंदर हमेशा डेटा ज्यादा बेहतर ऑर्गेनाइज हो जाता है. Data is organized. Okay. So if instead of one single container, Ahmed, you're with us, right? But Fatma, you can also hear me?
Yes.
Clear? That's awesome. Okay, listen, people, as soon as you give a suitable length to this declaration, this name, for example, if I wanted to store names of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 people, or 5 people, I can give length to this variable. I can start numbering them maybe from 0 or maybe from 1. Let's start numbering it from 1 till 5. Of course, if I wanted to store names, the data type should be string. Awesome. Now, what magic will going to happen when you declare this? People, just like I've told you that if you will going to run this statement, this happens. And if you run this statement, if you execute this command in a computer, what happens? If a programmer is giving this command in any programming language, what it will going to do in RAM, it will going to create a list of variables. How that? And that list will be something like this. Inside RAM, you have to keep your imagination strong. Computer memory, RAM, is like a huge cupboard with millions of boxes. And if you chose one small little box to become your variable, the name of the variable is names. So the computer, the program go and take that one box and label it name. And now the computer programs knows that your programs need this box with the name, and it will going to store some values inside of it. Then you have declared one another thing, a array. So the computer program will go and grab list of boxes, list of those small little boxes, and it will going to start label them like this inside the computer memory. Imagination strong. Think. This will actually going to happen. I think we need bigger boxes. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So there is a name for this list. The name for the list is name. You choose the name. And then how many boxes? 5 boxes. Ubaid, what do we call these numbers? Indexes of arrays. Index 1, index 2. You can store the values with the help of index. You can retrieve the values with the help of index. Because if you wanted to store, you have 5 boxes. The common name is name, and name has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 boxes. And if Shaf asks the program, please store this name Usman in name 4. So what do Shaf is doing? Shaf is indexing the array. So the value Usman will be stored inside the name list, inside its index 4. That is important to know. Okay. So this is how it will going to happen. This thing is done. Now I can give you one little example that how you can index the arrays. You can index the array something like this, because it's not a single variable. It's a list of variable. If you write something like this Ali will be stored in the second index of this array name. Roger? Okay, let's quickly move forward and learn how we can store the values, how we can populate 1D array, and then let's talk about 2D array as well in today's class. Let's do this quickly. All right. Moving on. A small program. Declare a one-dimensional array The array that we declared above was one-dimensional. Declare a one-dimensional array price, with length 10, prompt with input, sorry, input with prompt would be better. Input with prompt, prices of 10 items in array. So how we will going to solve this? We need to declare the array. So guys, how we will going to declare the array? How we will going to declare the array? What is the name of the array? What is the name? Price. So declare price. The name of the variable should be, or array should be like this. Price, you can start with the lower bound. What can be the lower bound? 0. We can start from 0 as well. You can also start with the 1 as well. So let's do this. And what should be the data type for prices? I think integer would be fine. Integer. All right. One more thing about the arrays. This thing is known as lower bound. Beta lower bound is this thing. And this thing is known as upper bound. And the length of the array is, here in this case, it's 10. Lower bound is 0. Upper bound is 9. The length is 10. Okay, the array is declared. Now we need to input with prompt and store the names of 10 prices in this array. There is one common practice I will going to use to declare one more variable. Declare let's call this PR, a single variable of data type integer. Okay guys, so I have declared one single variable PR as well. There is a reason of declaring it because whenever we will going to play with the arrays, we will be using some sort of a single variables. We can always move the data directly into the arrays, but it's always a good strategy that we also use a single variable. Now, how we will going to do that? But देखो एक तरीका तो ये है. One way is this, that I can write down this message output, because we wanted to do input with prompt, enter price. And after this message, I can use this command input. This is the command, and I can write down the variable PR. And after taking input in this single variable, I can move the data from PR into the array. We know the name of our array is price, and I can do something like this. At 0 index, the value will be moved. And then I can again output a message, enter price, input PR, price 1. Then again I can input a message, enter price, input PR, price 2. And I can keep doing this. But instead of this, I will choose to populate this array using a count control loop. So we will going to use count control loop to index the array and fill the whole values. So how we will going to do that? Number one, again, because keeping this in my mind that some of the people might need this description, we will going to assume, now this assumption is really important. People sometimes I've seen people, doing this all in their head. This is not recommended. So even if you will be solving some of the questions in your paper 2, paper 4, just draw the arrays, draw the ADTs, look into how programs actually work. So always use the blank pages given in the examination hall. Always use your copies and do the imagination part. Okay? We're assuming that the name of this array is price. It has, I'm not going to draw all the indexes. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. It has 0 to 9, 9 boxes. And we also have a single variable, a single container. The name of the single container is PR. So this is the array price. This price has 0 to 9 indexes. Okay? 0 to 9 indexes. Now, what I wanted to do, I wanted to run a for program, a for loop, like this, for that give me the name of the variable for loop, x. The index will start from lower bound, till upper bound, 0 to 9. So whatever will be the lower and upper bound of the array, Usman Chaka, that will be the range of the for loop as well. From 0 to 9, enter price, input PR, and to index the array, what variable that we will going to use? X. So whatever will be the variable that will you be using will be used here. Okay? This is important. Indexing of array. Now, this thing will be done how many times? 10 times. And your array will be populated. In X, when there will be 0, in X, when there will be 0, the first value that we're going to input will be inside 0. Next, when there will be X, 1, the next value will be stored in 1. Okay, we can create this understanding by running a Visual Basic code quickly. So what I should write instead of declare? Dim price. Instead of square brackets, we will going to use round brackets, 0 to 9. Data type will be string. Okay. So now declare dim PR as integer. I think I have made a grave mistake. Guys, if I'm using this PR, why I have declared this price as string? Nobody have told me this. I think I've made a mistake. But the data type of this price should be integer. Okay. After this, for X, okay. For X equals to 0 to 9. But instead of output, बाद क्या लिखेंगे हम? console dot write enter price. Instead of input, what should we write? Console dot read line, but the method will be PR equals to console dot read line. Okay. Now How to move this data PR into the respective array? By writing this price, the indexing variable is equal to PR. And that's it. We're done. Now, the reason of writing this pseudocode into VB.NET is to actually look what happens. Let's run this code one line at a time. Let's just not only imagine, but actually see what is happening. So as soon as I'm gonna declare this array, right now it's not mentioning anything. But as soon as we will going to declare this price, this thing will happen. A list of variables will be created. Okay, look, price, a list of variable is created. So, Osman, as soon as we have declared price with the length 0 to 9, price 0, price 1, price 2, up till price 9 has been created, a list of variables created. Now, Acha, one more thing which is important to know is that it's not important that I should always be declaring my 1D array like this. This is not important, and this is really important to know actually. ये जरूरी नहीं है कि यार जो हमारी array है उसको मैं ऐसे लेटा हुआ ही बनाऊं, इसको horizontally बनाएं, because आगे जाके ये problem होगा. So we should also know this, that this 1D array, one dimensional array, can be declared like this as well. This is really important to know. Okay, it still is a 1D array. So you can, name it like this. The name of the array is price. The name of the array is price. The index 0, the index 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and so on up till 9. So you can also declare the array in this direction, still 1D array, either in x-axis, either in y-axis, not both in x and y-axis. So it's a 1D array. You can also show it like this. Let's get back to the program. Let's keep it like this. Let's keep it like this. Okay. So we have declared the array. Let's run the program. The message is displayed on the console. And now the user is going to input the value. Let's input the value. Enterprise 35. Right now, Usman, look. Right now in X, it's 0. It's the very first iteration of the for loop. Inside X, it's 0. So the very first price 35 will store in price 0. So as soon as we run this instruction, we can go and we can have a look that the value 35 is stored in price 0. After next, the for variable X will be incremented. We can even hover and see. Can you see? Inside X, it's 1. Can you see small 1? That's great. So let's input the price second times, 45. And let's have a look. What is inside X now? This is the second iteration. It's 1. So we can see this. This now second value is stored in the variable in the array at the second index. So this is how you can do the indexing of the array using formats with the help of this iterating variable, which will going to iterate every time with +1. Now inside X, it's 2. This is the third iteration. 0, 1, and 2, the third iteration. And when you input the value, 55, you can go and have a look. Inside PR is 55. It will store inside the variable price 2. So we're pointing out to price 2. Before running this instruction, we can see that right now, and inside price 2, it's nothing. As soon as you run this instruction, let's go and have a look. So by running our program from 0 to 9 times, you can populate the whole array. And you can store all the values. And during the execution of right now the program is executing. We're executing the program one line at a time. So during the execution of the program, till the program executes, the values in this array will be stored. But as soon as you switch off or close the program, the values inside that arrays is depleted, deleted, gone. All right, so this is the 1D array. Let me quickly take you to a 2D array before I, start boring you with more detail. In 2D, two-dimensional array, we have both of the dimensions available, x and y axis. The quick example is this. For example, if we have an array declared like this, name. Let me just highlight this because this is important. 2D array. So guys, if I wanted to declare an array like this, what does this mean? Can anybody help me out? How many rows, how many columns does this row have? This name two-dimensional array has? It has 6 rows and 3 columns because it starts with the 0.
6 and 3.
Absolutely. And in 2D array, whenever the value that is mentioned first, that is rows. Whenever the value that is mentioned after, that is columns. Always, always, always. Always, whenever you declare a 2D array, the values, the numbers, the lower and upper bounds that are given before are rows, and after the comma, the second values, those are columns. Okay, now again, keep your imagination. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6 rows. And so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think I have gone for one another row. I should reduce it to this. There we go. And so 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rows, 0, 1 and 2 columns. Usman Naeem, if I wanted to store your name in this array, in this list, the name of the list is name. It has 5 rows and 3 columns. I wanted to store your name in this box. How can I index this box? Give me the command. The name of the list is name. Name of the list is name. You always mention row before. Third row and second column can hold the value. Sorry, I'm changing the name because of the less spellings. Okay, so you can always index your two-dimensional array like this. So to populate a two-dimensional array, how many loops you can be needing? If you wanted to populate a two-dimensional array, how many count control loops do we need? Can we populate this array with only one loop? Is it must that we have to use a nested loops? There can be an easier way. Let's make a small program. Let's populate this array. Let's this array. Let's do this. बेटा हम क्या करने के लिए जा रहे हैं, हम इस 2-dimensional array को populate करने के लिए जा रहे हैं, एक ही loop use करेंगे, ठीक है? अच्छा, it's not necessary that we have to use count control loop. We can use while and while loop. We can use repeat until loop as well. But it's preferred that we use count control loop. Yes, often with the bigger number of rows and columns, it's important. It's like recommended that you use nested loops. But just to spark the bit of attention, bit of fun in this question. I think because you people are thinking if we can populate this array using with only one loop, let's do this. Okay. So I'm going to use this loop for rows. How many rows do we have? 0 to 5, 6 rows. So I'm going to use this for loop. I'm going to call this variable row 0 to 5 rows. I'm going to prompt a message because the length of this program might get lengthy. So I'm going to use this strategy. Input. I'm going to do input with prompt in one line. We can do this as part of the syllabus. Input. Enter. Name. I'm not going to use a single variable. I'm going to use this array indexing immediately. So input, enter name. Name. The name is the name of our array as well. Row, comma 0. Can I do this? Okay. Input again. Let's make it even more friendlier. Enter. I think this is enter name. Enter name again, comma, name, row, comma 1. समझ में आई बात? Input, enter name, comma, name, row, comma 2. How many columns do we have? 0, 1, 2. That's it. This is it. This is your program to populate a 2-dimensional array using one loop. So once, but this is important. Listen to me very carefully. Just look here. All people just look here. Just closely. Just observe closely. Just give me a minute. So for example, for the first iteration, Ubaid Khan in row 0, this command will pop up. If you enter the name will store in 0, 0. The value will be stored where? The value will be stored here. Then second time, enter name again. The second name will store at 0, 1. The name will store here. Again, the third name will store at 0, 2 because right now in row 0, it's 0. After this, we go up, row becomes 1. The next values will be stored at 1, 0. So Usman Jaga, we can also call it that we're storing the names row wise. The name will store here and 1, 2, the data will, the name will be stored here. And row becomes 2. Row becomes 3. 3, 0, 3, 1, 3, 2. 3, 0, 3, 1, 3, 3. Data will store row wise. Now we have a variable. Osman, Shaf, we have a 2D array with 5 rows. Let's keep it 6 rows and 3 columns. Okay? And let's populate the array first. It has 6 rows and 3 columns. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 6 rows and it has 3 columns. 0, 1, 2. Okay, so let's apply 2 loops. For row equals to 0 to 5. For column equals to 0 to 2. Sharp. So we can Usman, Jaka, beta, we can also use 2 loops. So let's input with prompt, enter name. Let's make it a little bit more interesting. Enter name and row, comma, column. I think enter name. How can I make it more interesting? मैं ये चाह रहा हूँ कि ये रो और कॉलम में बताया कि 0, 0 के ऊपर डेटा आप इनपुट कर रहे हो. Enter name.
वेरिएबल जो है उसके रो और कॉलम के ऊपर कुछ करना साथ है स्टैक में यूज करके वो दूसरा कॉलम
Row. Column. Let's see what happens. And name, row, comma, column equals to console dot read line. यार इसको अगली लाइन में ही कर लेते हैं because it will look a little bit more confusing. Good. Okay, I just wanted to create this picture. The thing is this, I just wanted to do this. Look, let me just, end it with this console dot read key. So let's try to populate this array. It will look something like this. Enter name, row, comma. Oh yes, you're absolutely right here because it should be end. My bad. And row and yes, my bad. It should look something like this. This is good. So enter name 0, 0. Still not good. Let's make it a little bit more presentable. This is good. This should look good now. अब सही है. Enter name 0, 0. Ali. Enter name 0, 1. Okay, let's make it a little bit more delicate. Enter name, row, and अब सही है. Enter name row 0, column 0. इंटर नेम रो 0 कॉलम 1 सही है ना? अब सही लग रहा है। चलो जी गुड। अच्छा अब हम ये चाह रहे हैं कि बिकॉज द कॉम्प्लेक्सिटी ऑफ द प्रोग्राम, इसको थोड़ा छोटा करने के लिए मैं क्या करना चाह रहा हूँ कि इसके ना हम रोज कम कर लेते हैं। लेट्स मेक इट 4 rows and 2 columns. Let's make it 4 rows and 2 columns. Let's run the program. Let's populate the array. And after populating the array, let's also output the contents of the array as well. To output the contents of the array, we can write something like this for x equals to 0 to 3 and console dot write line write अच्छा ये थोड़ी सी ना स्ट्रिंग फॉर्मेटिंग हो रही है क्योंकि ये जो हमने ये वाला काम किया स्ट्रिंग फॉर्मेटिंग है। उस्मान जाकर दिस इज आल्सो इम्पोर्टेंट टू लर्न। Even it get little bit difficult, it's okay, but I'll try to explain you each and everything like in one little detail. Okay, nothing to worry about. Console.write. So once you have populated the array, I just wanted to display the content of all the array. Okay, so console.write, and the very first content of the array will be name x comma 0. Yes, any message? And name x comma 1. It should do the job. Hmm. 0 1 2, लेकिन इसको थोड़ा सा हम और यूं कर लेते हैं। क्योंकि हमारे पास जो Guys, I know I'm a bit quiet, लेकिन मैं चाह रहा हूँ कि एक दफा इसको थोड़ा बना लूँ, कोड कर लूँ, फिर आपके साथ मैं रन करके इसको चला के देखता हूँ। ठीक है? I'm hopeful that we are going to output desired results. A B C D E F G H, बस इसके बाद आउटपुट दिखाना शुरू कर देना चाहिए इसको। A B C D E F G H सही है, ठीक है, मेक सेंस। अच्छा अगर हमारे पास कॉलम ज्यादा होते हैं 0 1 2, हमारे पास जो है वो कॉलम ज्यादा होते हैं 0 1 2, A B C out of range. Oh sorry, because मुझे एरे को भी इसी तरह से डिक्लेयर करना है, my bad. A B C D E F G H I A B and C. I think अब इसके ऊपर इसको रिपीट करना चाहिए, हमें डिस्प्ले करके दिखाना चाहिए। सही है, ABC, ठीक है। Okay, but listen, it's working fine. Now, उस्मान जाका, लुक, हमारी जो 2D एरे है उसमें डेटा स्टोर कैसे हो रहा है, आई नो मैं थोड़ा सा बस ये 5 मिनट लगेंगे, लेकिन बेटा ये सारा कॉन्सेप्ट हमारा बिल्कुल एक दफा स्मूथ हो जाएगा। इसको बहुत क्रिटिकली एक ही दफा लाइफ में 2D एरे एक ही दफा करेंगे, बार बार नहीं करेंगे, मैं आपको बार बार बोर नहीं करूंगा, ठीक है? तो आई एम गोना टेक हेल्प फ्रॉम दिस थिंग। इसको मैं फिलहाल थोड़ी सी देर के लिए बंद कर रहा हूँ। ओके पीपल लिसन, देखो जब ये कोड चलना शुरू होगा, सबसे पहले तो ये जानना बहुत जरूरी है, दिस इज रियली इंपॉर्टेंट टू लर्न, कि हमारी एरे के अंदर 4 हमारे पास रोज हैं और 3 कॉलम है। सो वी हैव 4 रोज एंड 3 कॉलम्स। जल्दी से इसको ड्रॉ कर लेते हैं ताकि हमें ये चीजें भी समझने में आसानी हो, ठीक है? 4 रोज एंड 3 कॉलम्स। So 1, 2, 3 and 4 rows and 3 columns. Of course, this is column number 0, column number 1 and column number 2. ठीक है? Row 0, row 1, row 2 and row 3. ठीक है ना? हमारे पास 0 से 3 rows हो गई, 0 to 2 कॉलम हो गए, और इस एरे का नाम क्या है? नेम। जाकर ये चीज बिल्कुल सॉलिड हो गई। अच्छा, अब हमने ये लूप चलाना शुरू किया। फॉर के लूप के अंदर एक लूप है, वी हैव अ लूप विद इन अ लूप। सो फॉर रो 0, ठीक है, इसको मैं थोड़ा जूम करके दिखा रहा हूं। फॉर रो 0 हम अंदर आ जाएंगे, फॉर कॉलम 1 जब ये वाला फॉर चलना शुरू होगा, सॉरी ये भी 0 से शुरू होगा, फॉर कॉलम 0। अब इस फॉर के अंदर जो अंदर वाला फॉर है ना, रो 0 के लिए कॉलम 0, कॉलम 1, कॉलम 2 ऐसे चलेगा। फिर बाहर आएंगे, फिर रो 1 के लिए कॉलम 0, कॉलम 1, कॉलम 2। अगेन देन वी गो आउट एंड फॉर रो 2 कॉलम 0, कॉलम 1, कॉलम 2, इस तरह से चलेगा। सो फॉर रो 0 एंड कॉलम 0, दिस मैसेज विल बी प्रिंटेड, एंटर द नेम, एंटर नेम रो। दिस मैसेज विल बी प्रिंटेड एज इट इज ऑन द स्क्रीन। एंड देन दिस इज अ वेरिएबल नाउ। वेरिएबल को ना हमने कॉनकैट किया हुआ है, इसके साथ जोड़ा हुआ है, मर्ज किया हुआ है। इसके अंदर राइट नाउ क्या होगा? 0, और इस कॉलम के अंदर भी 0 है, इसके अंदर भी 0 होगा। ये वेरिएबल्स हैं ब्लू कलर के, डबल कोट्स के अंदर स्ट्रिंग है। इसी वजह से तुम्हारा ये जब सब चीजें ज्वाइन होके ना मैसेज इस तरह से बन रहा था, एंटर नेम रो कोलन। देखो ये मैसेज एज इट इज प्रिंट हो गया। उसके बाद रो की वैल्यू यहाँ पे 0 ऐसे लिखी हुई आ रही थी। उसके बाद ये मैसेज प्रिंट होगा, कॉलम, ओके, दिस इज द मैसेज, this is the message, no, this is the variable, this will keep changing, and then ये यहां पर आ जाएगा। ठीक है, इसको इस तरह से समझो, ये वेरिएबल है, ये वेरिएबल है, ये वेरिएबल है, ये वेरिएबल है। और उसके बाद अगेन, उसके बाद भी मैंने थोड़ा सा ये भी थोड़ी ब्यूटिफिकेशन की हुई है। उसके बाद ये दोबारा बना हुआ है इस तरह से, ये चीज यहाँ पे इस तरह से आएगी। फिर यहाँ पे कर्सर ब्लिंक हो रहा होता था जब इनपुट की कमांड चलती थी, सही है? तो ये इस तरह से हो। So this thing is basically known as string formatting. This is also very important to learn in all the programming languages. Get the point? Because when this, after this next iteration, column will become 1, and this whole message will be printed again, but this column will become 1, 0, 1, then 0, 2, then 0, 3. सॉरी 0, 2 के बाद फिर ये चेंज हो जाएगा तुम्हारे पास, ये चेंज हो जाएगा, तो फिर ये क्या हो जाएगा? ये 1 हो जाएगी, और फिर ये 1 के लिए 0, 1, 2, क्योंकि ये तुम्हारा वेरिएबल, यहाँ पे वेरिएबल चेंज होगा। दिस थिंग इज रियली इंपॉर्टेंट टू अंडरस्टैंड। ये बहुत छोटी चीज लग रही है, लेकिन ये जानना बहुत जरूरी है, सही है? इसकी प्रैक्टिस, इसको देख लेना, इसको पूछ लेना, इसको दोबारा चला के देखना, इसको गौर करना, इसके ऊपर चेंज होती रहेगी, सही है? ओके, आफ्टर दैट ये हमने एरे को पॉपुलेट कर लिया। दिस होल थिंग, दिस स्मॉल कोड विल गोइंग टू पॉपुलेट द एरे। डन? ओके, आफ्टर डूइंग दिस, now this simple छोटी सी कमांड, दिस इज बेसिकली आस्किंग फॉर कि की प्रेस करोगे तो आगे जाओगे, इसका इतना कोई मतलब नहीं है. दिस स्मॉल कोड इज नॉट रिस्पॉन्सिबल ऑफ डिस्प्लेइंग ऑल द कंटेंट्स ऑफ द एरे. फॉर एग्जांपल व्हेन यू रन दिस प्रोग्राम, I'm going to run this program with the scratch. So Usman, just 1 minute. Obed, I recommend you also give me the answers. When this message will pop up for the very first time, row 0, column 0. This message will be displayed. Give me any name. Ali, let's say Ali. So name 0, column 0. The value will be stored in the very first index of the array, sorry, here. Ali. Okay. So this is the very first iteration. We go up. This will become 1. So next time this message will again pop up. This column has been changed. अब यहाँ पे देखो क्या लिखा हुआ आएगा. इस जगह पर आ जाएगा 1. इस जगह पर क्या आ जाएगा 1. So this will become 1. So when you will going to input the second name, तो उस्मान ये कहाँ पे स्टोर होगा? 0 1, row 0, column 1, उस्मान. सही है जाका? जाका मुझे बताओ अब क्या होगा? इसके बाद हम कहां पर जाएंगे? ऊपर जाएंगे, बाहर जाएंगे? कॉलम क्या हो जाएगा? Column will become 2. So when the column will become 2, this message will also looks like this. Enter name row 0, column 2. And this will become 2. तो उबैद रजा, जो नेम इनपुट करोगे उबैद, वो कहां पे जाएगा? हम रो वाइज डेटा को इनपुट करना है. If after this column has become 2, where shall we go? What will become? What's next? क्या होगा आगे? Should we go up again? Column will become 3. What will happen? उस्मान क्या होगा? Column 2 हो चुका है. अब हम कहां जाएंगे? देखो, column will go from 2 to 2 ना. ये अब क्या करेंगे? नेक्स्ट से बाहर आ जाएंगे, इधर दोबारा ऊपर जाएंगे. रो 0 थी, ये क्या हो जाएगा? रो 1. रो 1 के लिए दोबारा अंदर आओगे, कॉलम दोबारा 0 हो जाएगा. ठीक है, तो अब क्या हो जाएगा? रो हो जाएगी 1. ठीक है, रो हो जाएगी आपके पास 1 और कॉलम दोबारा हो जाएगा 0. ऐसे ही है ना? तो जाका ये सारे के सारे नाम इस तरह से स्टोर हो जाएंगे. कामरान, सना, कैफ, शाफ, नाहील, फातिमा, अहमद, हमजा, रयान. ठीक है, the array is populated now. The array is populated. अगली चीज, शाफ, उस्मान, उबैद, अहमद, फातिमा. बेटा देखो अब ये आउटपुट कैसे होगा. दिस इज ट्रिकी. देखो कंसोल डॉट राइट और कंसोल डॉट राइट लाइन में फर्क ये है, कंसोल डॉट राइट से लाइन चेंज नहीं होती, राइट लाइन से लाइन चेंज होती है. ठीक है, दिस विल हैपन. सो फॉर एग्जांपल x0, the line has been changed. So how does line changes? Look, if the cursor is blinking here, if this command will run, the cursor will start blinking one line after that. It changes the line only. That's it. After changing the line, the y becomes 0. Console.write. Name 0, 0. What is inside 0, 0? Inside 0, 0, it's Ali. So Ali will be printed. But the line will not change because console.write will not going to change the line. Y will become 1. The reason of doing this is to just bring a little bit space here in between second time when you will going to output. So the second name 0, 1, which is Usman, this will be printed. सही है ना? अगेन फॉर y2 ये थोड़ा सा इसके जैसे क्या आएगा, स्पेस आ जाएगा बीच में। उस्मान के बाद क्या आ जाएगा, उबैद, उबैद विल बी प्रिंटेड। ओके, अब ये y2 हो गया तुम्हारा, तो बेटा कहाँ जाएंगे, बाहर आ जाएंगे ना, यहां से ऊपर जाएंगे, x क्या हो जाएगा 1। लेकिन बेटा दोबारा लूप में जाने से पहले आप देख रहे हो यहाँ पे क्या हो रहा है, लाइन चेंज हो रही है, कर्सर यहाँ पर आ जाएगा। इससे क्या होगा, अब अगले जो 3 नाम है ना वो अगली लाइन पे प्रिंट हो गए, उसके बाद अगले जो 3 नाम है फिर अगली लाइन में प्रिंट हो गए, लाइन यहाँ पे चेंज करना। Can you see this? In Python, in Java, in Python, we have this command is equal to END quotation start, quotation close, which is used to not change the line. Okay. Now, if now I run this program, this should definitely make sense to you people. Guys, quickly give me the names. Ali, Ubaid, Usman, Nahil, Nail, Fatima, Inshara, Ahmed, Shaf, Shah, Kaf, Ryan. Okay, now look. अब ये जो है ना, ये कंसोल डॉट रीड की ने इसको रोक के रखा हुआ है, ये वाली कमांड इसको रोक के रख रही है, ये वाली। अब मैंने एक दफा की प्रेस की, देखो उसने नाम किस तरह से प्रिंट किया, अली, उबैद, उस्मान, फिर अगली लाइन में नाहिल, नाइल, फातिमा, फिर अगली लाइन में इंशरा, अहमद, शाह, रो 0, कॉलम 0, रो 0 के तीनों नाम, रो 1 के तीनों नाम, रो 2 के तीनों नाम, और सर्च इनको प्रिंट करते हैं। ठीक है, so this is how we can use little bit string formatting in a 2D array as well.